While our commander-in-chief of chaos, Donald Trump, escalates his dangerous rhetoric and puts Democrat lawmakers at risk, the military is fighting back. And not just any voices, but prominent veterans and even an iconic Air Force commander are dropping truth bombs on Trump in defense of honor, decency, and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. And I've got all the military maneuvers against Trump coming up next. Hi, I'm Dan, and welcome to another Occupy Democrats report. Hit that subscribe button to stay informed as we expose Donald Trump's war on everything. And now let's jump into this breaking story. Trump's latest dance with derangement came in the form of a chilling Truth Social post declaring, seditious behavior punishable by death. He aimed it at 6 Democrat lawmakers who released a reminder to military service members. Follow your oath when it comes to illegal orders. Illegal is the key word, a word that Trump and his MAGA maniacs conveniently omit when they turn up the temperature and put those lawmakers at risk. But level-headed military voices are stepping in, and the Army, Navy, and Air Force are all represented in what I've compiled. Army veteran advocate Skylay Early kicked things off with a blistering reminder. Trump screaming sedition because Democratic veterans made a message that the military can disobey unlawful orders. Conveying the Uniform Code of Military Justice is not sedition. January 6th was sedition, and Trump pardoned them all. Next up, Pete Buttigieg, former Navy intelligence officer, chimes in with a powerful reminder about the responsibility service members have to the law and to the Constitution. Have a listen, and then I'll show you the Air Force commander ripping the commander-in-chief.
I know that in my military training, I was taught as an officer that I should obey all and enact all lawful orders. In fact, it's in the very language that you use and that you swear. Lawful orders of those appointed over you. And the emphasis on lawful is not a small one. I was also taught that if I was ever ordered to do anything unlawful, that my responsibility was to the law and to the Constitution. How that actually plays out, though, is really much more difficult to talk about in practice. What we've generally assumed is it means that an order, if a president were to order something that was blatantly illegal or unconstitutional, that order wouldn't go very far. It wouldn't get anywhere near the soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine out in the field, because senior military leadership, generals whose job is to be completely non-political, would not allow that to happen. Not for nothing, one of the first things this president did was change senior military leadership, and maybe even more importantly, change the JAG Corps, the lawyers who advise those generals and admirals on what to do. All of that does create more pressure down the chain of command, more uncertainty down the chain of command for anybody who is worried about whether everything they are being ordered to do is in fact lawful and constitutional.
And now the grand finale. Enter Mo Davis, retired Air Force commander and former judge. Watch as he sounds the alarm on Trump's despicable war of words and then calls it out for exactly what it is.
More than 1 million men, women, and children were murdered at Auschwitz. And after the war ended, many of the Nazis were taken to Nuremberg and prosecuted. And one of those was Rudolf Haas, who had been the commander of the camp at Auschwitz. At his trial at Nuremberg, Mr. Haas stated, and I quote, "Don't you see, we SS men were not supposed to think about those things. It just never occurred to us. We were all so trained to obey orders without even thinking that the thought of disobeying an order would simply never have occurred to anybody, and somebody else would have done just as well if I hadn't. I never really gave much thought to whether it was wrong. It just seemed a necessity." Well, this week, 6 Democratic members of Congress, who all served in uniform or in the CIA, posted a video that reminded U.S. service members that they have a legal obligation to disobey an unlawful order. So if they're ordered to attack American civilians or ordered to murder a fisherman off the coast of Venezuela, they have a duty to disobey that order because it's unlawful. And as Nuremberg showed, relying on the "I was just ordered to do it" defense does not work. So what was the response by the Trump administration? Stephen Miller said, well, these Democrats are inciting an insurrection. And President Trump himself said it was seditious behavior that warranted execution. Remember the Republicans always whine saying Democrats are inciting violence? Well, you can tell the things they complain about are the things that they do themselves, and that's exactly what they're doing here. Holding these Democratic members of Congress up for telling the truth in saying they should be murdered for doing it. When I served in the JAG Corps, I served alongside Senator Roger Wicker and Senator Lindsey Graham. I mean, there's some people that are just stupid and fall for Trump's bullshit. But these are two men who know better, but have made the decision that it's in their interest just to go along. Well, if the president calling for the execution of members of Congress for telling the truth isn't grounds for impeachment, then what in the hell is? If I was serving in Congress, I would be filing articles of impeachment right now.
Donald Trump is a dangerous man. The mob he unleashed on January 6th is the perfect example of the deadly chaos he's capable of inciting with his words. 9 people connected to the events of that day have ultimately perished, and here he is again turning up the heat with his pathological twisting of the truth. But this attack is backfiring. Not only is he reminding the world of the unhinged nut he is, but veterans from the Army, Navy, and Air Force are pushing back, and their message is unmistakable. Following the Constitution is not sedition. And I'll add, not following illegal orders from a dictatorial tyrant who is abusing his power just might be the highest form of service at this moment in time.